Welcome to Celestial Insights, a weekly podcast that brings the stars down to earth. I'm your host, astrologer, coach, and intuitive Celeste Brooks. My purpose is to provide practical, unique, and insightful guidance to help you navigate the energies of the week like a boss. Hello, this is Celeste of Astrology by Celeste, and on this episode, I will discuss the astrology for the week of January 26, 2025. I wanted to make you aware of some upcoming events. On February 9th, I'm having a free webinar about the lunar nodes, and you can sign up for this and any of the others in the link in the show note. They're also all on my website, astrologybyceleste.com. On the 15th, I'm doing a talk for Kepler College about world points. These are degrees of significance where, when you see them in someone's natal chart or in an event chart, it suggests that there's something related to the nature of, it could be the planet, the sign, the house, or all three, that is going to give the native or the event more recognition on a wider scale. On February 23rd, I'll be in Sacramento giving a lunar planning workshop for NCGR Sacramento. It's not on my website yet, but I'm going to start teaching astrology foundations classes. It's going to start February 27th. It's going to be on Tuesdays from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Pacific time. More details are to come. Last week's episode was called Payback, and now we know the story. One of the features last week was the Sun and Pluto had their annual conjunction. And when any planet is conjunct the Sun, we don't talk about this with the Moon, but anything else, it's a phenomenon called cazimi. As a planet approaches the Sun or the Sun approaches a planet, Mercury and Venus apply to the Sun. The Sun applies to Mars out. Around 17 degrees out, it goes what's called under the beams. This is just a physical thing where a planet is so close to the Sun, and so the planet is getting weakened as the Sun's purifying rays start burning off old stories. And within 8 degrees or so, it's called combust. It's like, imagine you're driving into the Sun and you're basically not only blinded, but you're also invisible. So combustion is weakness of the planet. But within 17 minutes, so that's less than 1 degree, 17 minutes of the Sun-planet conjunction, a planet is called cazimi, where it sits at the foot of the king, the Sun is the king, and can ask for a favor, ask for what it wants. So it's considered extremely fortunate. When people are born with a planet cazimi, it can suggest they have something of a gift related to the planet. Oprah was born impoverished and is now a billionaire, and she has a Venus cazimi in her natal chart in her second house of finances and income. And then after a planet goes cazimi, it becomes combust again as the Sun moves away, and then under the beams again until the Sun is past that 17 degrees. So there's this theme of death and rebirth with cazimis. And Pluto and the Sun were in Aquarius when this happened. Aquarius rules tech, social media, the groups and the collective, and TikTok essentially had a death for around 12 hours and a rebirth. And when it went down, it's all propaganda, but they put this thing up saying they were working with President Trump. It goes down, and then when it comes up, they said, thanks to President Trump, we're back again. And they've got 75 days to figure out how they're going to stay in the U.S. So this is a perfect example of a cazimi. TikTok had a metaphorical death when the sun was at 29 degrees of Capricorn. Capricorn rules big business and the elderly. And boom, it came back after the sun went into Aquarius, 0 degrees, a rebirth. So what a great example of astrology in action. There was so much last week with executive orders and whatnot. I think I'll leave it at that. Another Sun-Pluto thing we saw last week, the sun spotlights us on plutonic things. Pluto has a mass influence and it rules catastrophes. And there was a hotel in Turkey that went up in flames. I'm recording this on Tuesday at around 6 p.m. Pacific time. So there's no cause that has been identified yet, but Mars is retrograde in the sign of Cancer. A hotel is a Cancerian business where people go and lay their heads to sleep and eat while they're traveling. And the fire started 2 days after Venus and Saturn met in Pisces. So Venus and Saturn, these people are going on this luxury vacation and they experience a hardship. And this really brings together the theme. I told people to look for Venus and Pisces, these exalted people at this beautiful hotel in a ski resort, blah, blah, blah. And Venus was moving to trine Mars, and Mars is retrograde in the sign of Cancer, the sign of its fall. So it was like the difference between on a pedestal in the bottom of a well. And I mean, it just was so literal as some of the guests, this is so awful, in an effort to escape the fire, actually jumped out of some of the hotel rooms. So I don't know why they didn't have fire alarms or what have you, or how this went up so fast, but that was one of the things we saw. We also saw now there's fires in San Diego. So fire is a big theme of this Mars retrograde, which makes sense because Mars rules fire. Your cosmic advantage begins with the Wise Skies digital calendar. With descriptions for every planetary and lunar event, all levels of astrology enthusiasts can enjoy the calendar on any device and now in many languages. With this superpower in your back pocket, you will be fully equipped to understand the astrological weather any day of the week. My good friend and collaborator, Tiffany Herlick, creates this calendar every year and I use it daily. I highly recommend it. Use my coupon code for $10 off. The code is ABC2024 or ABC2025, depending on the year. Let the universe have your back with the Wise Skies digital astrology calendar. The theme is the sky is falling, and there are 3 big things I'd like you to think about as you move through the week. The first is that Mercury, the planet of communication, has entered the sign of Aquarius from January 27th through February 14th. This is a sign of groups, friends, organizations like Congress, NATO, the World Health Organization, which the United States is no longer going to be a part of, for instance, technology, innovation, and outer space. Mercury announces things, so there may be additional announcements. A big thing about the Sun-Pluto conjunction, we can see the tech companies are working closely with the government and doing all sorts of things behind the scenes. A lot of people said when TikTok came back up, it was different than when it went down. And I saw someone who is a biomedical engineer whose business is about female health and makes vaginal products for vaginal health. And she couldn't anymore search for the term vaginal health. There was something about it being blocked. So now she has to come up with fake ways to say vagina because of the changes in the algorithm that are designed to limit what content people can access. There's also on Facebook made everyone start following the vice president and the president. And so you have to go in and block them in order to stop it. And some people have blocked them multiple times and it comes back. So the sun was illuminating some of these things where people just happened to see things coming up that seemed out of alignment. But now Mercury in Aquarius takes the same path as the sun. And so the first thing it does is meet up with Pluto. So is there going to be announcements about control? There's things about, being aware that the government has bought software in order to track phones. And you may want to be taking care to make sure you're, as much as you can, protecting your privacy in this new environment. So there may be announcements. I know Facebook has talked about moving people from California to Texas. There may be more talk about Texas being like the new hub that the new government wants to funnel people to. But conversations are going to be about these groups. You may find yourself like having to mentally detach from things, potentially, because for some people, this is like very overwhelming, seeing this big brother stuff going on in the background. One of the reasons why it's called The Sky is Falling is to remind ourselves not to catastrophize everything that's happening. The next thing I want to make you aware of is that we're having a new moon at 9 degrees of Aquarius on Thursday, January 29th. New moons are times to plant seeds about what you want to bring forth in your life. And you can think about Aquarius topics, which are friends, groups, hopes and dreams, the collective. Do you want to volunteer for an organization or make a donation somewhere to make the world a better place? It's also a great new moon for anything related to writing projects. Air signs, and Aquarius is an air sign, communicate and connect. And this is fixed energy, so what you start can have staying power. And this new moon is conjunct Icarus, which is an asteroid. And Icarus's mythology is his father was Daedalus, the inventor, and Daedalus made him some wings, and he used beeswax to make the wings stick together so Icarus could fly. And Daedalus told Icarus, be careful, don't fly too high, too close to the sun. And he did, and the sun melted the wax, and he fell into the sea and died. So there may be stories about people flying too close to the sun. So notice in your own life, if someone getting too aggressive with the boss and then, they get fired or something like that, or they get a Mercury conjunct Pluto, like a huge reprimand. Pluto can embarrass and humiliate, and it's the lord of the underworld and can seemingly take people to hell. So notice figuratively and literally things about flying too close to the sun and then burning out. The new moon in Aquarius is also in a smooth, easy-flowing trine with the planet Jupiter, the planet of expansion. Jupiter is a benefic. It invests in. This new moon could bring some beautiful opportunities for growth for people, as long as you dot your I's and cross your T's. Because, you've got a great idea and you start the expansion, and then the moon is in a trine with Jupiter. But then the next thing that the moon does is it squares Saturn. So, if you haven't completed everything properly, there could be something that slows you down or delays you. So just keep that in mind to slow down, check the details of things, and that will prevent you from flying too close to the sun because you will have dotted your I's and crossed your T's. The tarot card is the Five of Swords. And the Five of Swords is a card of conflict. All fives are about conflict. This can be verbal. After a fight, like you're exhausted and you kind of go away feeling like, was this even worth it? So pick your battles is what I would say with this card. The Sabian symbol is a man who had for a time become the embodiment of an ideal is made to realize that as a person, he is not this ideal. So to me, this is like someone who is overconfident has a comeuppance. So notice that in the collective. I get falling off a pedestal or being shoved. It's interesting with the Congress is interviewing for hearings a lot of these appointees, and some of them are for the cabinet and other government positions. Some of them are completely inappropriate and unqualified, but are they just going to be pushed through, or is something going to come up, some information going to be shared with this group of people with Mercury conjunct Pluto that causes one of the people embarrassment or leads to one of these being stopped? It's almost like someone's being revealed for who they are. So notice if you see that in the collective. In terms of the moon phase family for this cycle, the new moon where the sun and the moon are both at 9 degrees of Aquarius is on January 29th, 2025. The first quarter moon, where this can be if your chart is activated and something starts at the new moon, you can use October 29th as a date to pinpoint where you want to think back of where you were, where you are now. Do you need to make some changes or course correction? The sun will be in Scorpio and the moon will be in Aquarius, both at 6 degrees for the first quarter moon. The full moon of this cycle, the sun in Leo, the moon in Aquarius, both at 6 degrees, will be on July 26, 2026. And the last quarter moon with the sun in Taurus and the moon in Aquarius, both at 8 degrees, will be April 28th, 2027. So these 27-month cycles where there is an activation every 9 months, you can look at a week or two on either side, are important, potentially pivot points for an ongoing story in your life. And you can use the dates for like big goals. Do you want to write a book? That's an Aquarius thing. Launch an app. You can use the dates for planning purposes. The last thing I want to make you aware of is that Uranus will station direct at 23 degrees of Taurus on Friday. Uranus is the great awakener. So notice if something comes to your conscious attention where you have an aha moment about something. This week, the energy is most intense 5 days before and 5 days after. A story that had a Uranian component where something was put down around September 1st may start moving forward again. Uranus rules sudden changes or upheaval, scientific breakthroughs, lightning strikes, earthquakes. The thing that you most notice about Uranus is something was going along in a certain way, and then there's something that certainly changes. It could be a reversal, like you are just driving down the road and something's blocked off because they're doing, let's say, a sobriety check. And that's Uranian, where someone could have a sudden upheaval if they've been drinking too much and the officer does the breathalyzer and they have to, go off to jail if they fail the test. There could be big things around traffic or travel slowdowns or stops. I wouldn't be surprised if something leads to like flights being grounded between this and February 3rd. We shall see. There are freezing temperatures all over the United States. And this may be something that's ongoing that leads to travel stoppages, like with the Mercury conjunct Pluto. It could be too cold to fly certain places. It's possible. Also, are we seeing anything around outer space? Uranus stations direct on the president's midheaven. So maybe there's some announcement about how we're going to Mars and there's some new big initiative around that, or something surprising or shocking related to the president. The South Node is in Virgo, so there could be something surprising that comes up around health matters or land, farmland. Maybe you go to the grocery store and there is no more avocados. Cause for the lack of avocados could be bad weather conditions, or the immigration control is supposed to be doing a bunch of raids throughout the country. And perhaps the people who were supposed to pick the avocados have been taken and potentially deported. Or your boo could pick you flowers and bring them to you. Or you receive a sudden gift or sudden offer that is a surprise and a delight. With Uranus, it can be either way. It can be either something you really like or something maybe that's a difficulty that is very sudden and it really grabs your attention. If you are embarking on a new journey, experiencing a major life event, feeling stuck, trying to make a difficult decision, or just looking to make positive changes, astrology can provide life-changing insights. There are several ways to work with me. You can come for a 60 or 90-minute astrology consultation depending on your needs. Engage in longer-term cosmic success coaching where we work together on a 3-month basis to help you overcome blocks, improve your life satisfaction, build better relationships, accomplish your career goals, and understand yourself better using the tool of astrology. Or mystic mentoring if you're an aspiring astrologer and want help with chart analysis techniques. Go to astrologybyceleste.com to check out my offerings. If you have any questions, you can email me at celeste@astrologybyceleste.com. On Sunday, the word of the day is CIRCUS. The Capricorn moon begins at 5:42 a.m. Pacific time. Capricorn is cardinal earth. Cardinal signs are initiating. Capricorn energy is practical and grounded, and it's ruled by the planet Saturn, so willing to put the effort in order to achieve a goal. Now, the moon doesn't like to be in Capricorn. It's in detriment as far away from home where it has difficulty doing what it does with most ease. The moon's job is to feel and emote. And in Capricorn, it's kind of like this hard, craggly ground. So there could be a little a little bit of a bummer energy, whether it's because of the weather or that it's winter, or maybe you're just getting a lot of stuff that's practical done. But on this day, Mercury in Capricorn is sextile Neptune and Pisces. They're both at 27 degrees. Sextiles are opportunities, and Capricorn and Pisces are both yin inward energy. So this is energy of making your own magic. And Venus in Pisces is sextile Uranus retrograde, and they're both at 23 degrees. With these two sextiles together, someone could create their most amazing artwork, music piece, do the best writing of their life. It's masterpiece energy. It also has the energy of a group of people going to the circus. Mercury is also sextile the North Node on this day at 28 degrees. The North Node has to do with groups, and it's in the sign of Pisces. This feels like huge propaganda. Propaganda is Neptunian and Piscean. And you notice anything different on your social media apps now that the government and the tech companies are aligned together to influence the thoughts of the people, and I think silencing speech. It's a great day to watch an exciting movie like a thriller. Uranus brings that thriller energy that's about government espionage stuff, potentially. This also, the upcoming week, it can feel like a circus with some of the hearings that are going to be coming up. Marco Rubio was the first person who went through and got confirmed by the Senate as the Secretary of State. He's qualified, he's appropriate, he has the background to do the job. It was easy peasy, done deal. Well, some of these other people have no business being put up for these types of offices. So it may feel like a circus watching Pete Hegseth or Tulsi Gabbard or this Kash Patel being questioned about their qualifications to have these jobs with unbelievable amount of responsibility, governmental budgets that they'll be accountable for, and hundreds of thousands or more of workers. So get ready to go to the circus. On Monday, the word of the day is bewildered. Mercury will enter the sign of Aquarius at 6:52 p.m. Pacific time. Now, the moon, Capricorn moon, is opposite Mars retrograde in the sign of Cancer. And it's also trine Uranus on this day. There's something that feels really weird about this energy. It feels like your gut may just feel like, what is wrong? There's something bewildering about this energy. So we'll see how that shows up. But there's going to be some kind of talk or announcement. Notice what comes to your mind when on this day, when Mercury enters the sign. It may be this day or the next day. Aquarian things will come to your conscious attention. You might see a little child with like a mohawk. Mercury rules children and young people. Mohawks are Aquarian. They're unique, unusual haircuts. And with Venus and Pisces, sextile Uranus, like someone may come into the office and they look totally different than they used to. And if you work for the government, you just got the news that you are back 5 days a week in the office. So this may be your first day back, and somebody who voted for the current administration might be bewildered about why they did this to themselves. On Tuesday, the word of the day is shady. Venus enters her retrograde shadow on this day. Now, Venus doesn't go retrograde until March 1st at, it's either 9 or 10 degrees Aries, and she's still in Pisces, but she's coming back into Pisces around 23, 24 degrees of Pisces during the retrograde period. So things that happen from now on can have a 3-part story during this upcoming Venus retrograde. Venus rules relationships, beauty, resources, and she's exalted in Pisces. And exaltation is like being put on a pedestal, a VIP. But then she's going to go into Aries where she's in the sign of her detriment. So there's this imagery of somebody falling off a pedestal. I hope it's not Oprah. I looked at her chart and I'm like, March 13th lunar eclipse could impact her directly. We'll see what happens. Let's hope not. Let's hope it's not Oprah. But it could be someone who's exalted. We're going to be seeing some exalted figures having like some surprising things come up. So this could also be, if you meet someone new in a relationship, maybe don't rush in with rose-colored glasses. That's Venus in Pisces, because you'll see eventually during the retrograde that maybe they weren't worth your investment, or one of these nominees may not make it through. We'll see what happens. The Aquarius moon begins at 11:31 a.m. Pacific time. Aquarius energy invites us to take a step back and view things from a higher perspective. It's a fixed air sign. Air signs communicate and connect, and it rules groups and organizations. So this may be, you notice people were quiet and now all of a sudden they're in the coffee room chitter-chattering about something. The moon will meet Mercury and then Pluto. So something's coming up that has a mass influence on groups of people. We'll see what happens. The Mercury-Pluto conjunction is on this day at 1 degree of Aquarius. On Wednesday, the word of the day is independence. And the song, The State of Independence by Donna Summer was playing in my head. That's such a beautiful song. There's a new moon at 9 degrees of Aquarius at 4:35 a.m. New moons are times to plant seeds for what you want to grow in your life. And in Aquarius, it could be related to your future hopes and dreams, the energy you're putting into groups and organizations. Maybe decide there's one that you want to leave. With the new moon trine Jupiter, you may find that you want to expand something related to a group or an organization or a friendship. Maybe you decide you want to have a party. Just remember, don't fly too close to the sun. On Thursday, the word of the day is discharge. The moon in Aquarius is square Uranus. So this could be a group of people get a shock or surprise. Now, this is you've got a car, you've got a car, you've got a car energy. It also could be layoffs. Several of the executive orders have been aimed at there's only two sexes, LGBTQ rights, DEI efforts. Government may be issuing layoff notices to people who work in roles related to these things, or women's health. There's something about women's reproductive rights that was taken down off of the White House website. Also, it used to be that you could go look at things in Spanish. That was taken down, and just something, a box that says go home. Yeah, things are getting pretty nasty in the US of A. Part of the reason I say it could be layoffs is because the South Node, which is a drain, is in the sign of Virgo, which rules the workforce. And Uranus is currently transiting the 6th house of the United States chart. So the 6th house is the house of health and things that go wrong with health, just the workforces, employees of organizations. And this is the day Uranus stations direct at 8:21 a.m. at 23 Taurus. The moon enters the sign of Pisces at 2:52 p.m. Pacific time. Pisces rules tears. It suggests that some people may be mourning. For instance, if you had a job and all of a sudden with Uranus direct, you find out, it's ending, your pay's cut, your hours are cut, or something like that. It could be like feelings of loss and disappointment, which resonates with Pisces, which is the last degree of the zodiac. It's a mutable water sign that's emotional. The sun in Aquarius is trine Jupiter in Gemini retrograde. It could be someone's going over their package with the HR director about their severance package. It could also be with the sun being ruling leaders, and Jupiter rules people who are celebrities or well known or fortunate. There could be like some leader has passed on or something like that, or says, I'm leaving this organization. Maybe they're beloved and people start crying or something like that. The sun trine Jupiter is lovely energy. So for most people, it will just be a spotlight on a blessing or just something nice. Maybe you're just feeling good. If you're journaling, you may be like, oh my gosh, I journaled so much and what I wrote was so great. Or if you're writing an article or something like that, the sun is in Aquarius, Jupiter's in Gemini. They're both air signs. Air communicates and connects. You could have a great conversation with your boss where you find out you're getting a raise, and with the moon in Pisces, maybe that's why you're crying. You're so happy you're getting your raise or your promotion, or just you feel good because you get something unexpectedly that is positive. Friday, the word of the day is disappointment. The moon will be conjunct Saturn at 17 degrees of Pisces. So there's something that is a little bit of a buzzkill. This could just be you go to a restaurant and order a dish and you're just a little disappointed just because it doesn't taste so good. Nothing doesn't have to be anything big or huge. But, or it could be a lot of people, Saturn delays. A lot of people are delayed getting somewhere. Could be because of the weather. On Saturday, the word of the day is disbelief. Venus and Neptune meet at 27 degrees of Pisces. This could be someone goes on a date and oh my God, it is just love at first sight. They can't believe, they're in disbelief. This person is so amazing. They can't think of anything wrong with them. Now remember, Venus is in its retrograde shadow. So you may be just wearing rose-colored glasses. Venus then meets the North Node. This could be at 28 degrees of Pisces. This could be people buy lotto tickets, and maybe they bought the lotto tickets. Maybe a group of people bought the lotto tickets on Thursday where the moon squared Uranus, and they don't know it yet, but they're going to be multimillionaires, and they are in disbelief as they see their 6 numbers being read off. So this can be really beautiful energy. Also, this can be someone just drinks so much they drink themselves into oblivion with Venus and Neptune conjunct, or eat themselves into a big stomach ache or something like that with Mars retrograde in the sign of Cancer. So watch out for overdoing things. We're going to have a waxing crescent moon at 28 Pisces at 2:20 p.m. This is a great couple of days. Listen to music, meditate. How can you keep yourself grounded? A lot of people are feeling uneasy and angry or scared about all of the executive orders and other actions that are being taken now that we've entered this brave new world. Personally, I think we need to pace ourselves. Just remember, not everything that's being proclaimed is going to come to fruition. A lot of this stuff is initiated during a Mars retrograde, which can suggest the actions are delayed or collapse entirely, like taking away birthright citizenship, which is in the Constitution. So take good care of yourselves. I'm really working to take care of myself and kind of recognizing when I'm feeling like it feels like there's just so much coming at us and it feels destabilizing. I'm disconnecting and using my tools like breath, meditation to ground myself. So that's it for this week's episode. Feel free to email me at celeste@astrologybyceleste.com with any astrology and action stories, or let me know how the daily themes are playing out for you. Take care, and I'll catch you next week. Thank you for listening to Celestial Insights. To learn more about my work, please visit my website, astrologybyceleste.com, where I offer personal readings, horary consultations, cosmic coaching, group events, and classes to help guide people to higher levels of fulfillment. You can also find me on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook at Astrology by Celeste. If you enjoyed Celestial Insights, please help others find the show. Follow, rate it 5 stars, or write a nice review. I would so appreciate it. I'm astrologer, coach, and intuitive Celeste Brooks, and I'll be back next week.